Many of us have seen the movie Hunger Games. The Hunger Games is a series of movies where children are taken from their homes and their loved ones against their will and forced to the Capitol to fight. This might be just a movie, but in reality, it's something that's happened in the real world today. According to the Trafficking Resource Center on December 28th, 2015, there are two methods to human trafficking. There's sex trafficking and labor trafficking. Sex trafficking is where people are forced to have sexual relations and they have no choice of who their partner is. And then labor trafficking is where people are forced to do work for others and they also have no choice in what kind of work they're doing. And almost all the time, there's no pay, there's no benefits. So while we're going through here and talking about the human trafficking and the relation to the Hunger Games, we need to take into consideration just because this is a movie doesn't mean it's really happening today. So what we're going to examine today is the history of human trafficking, what's going on in the present tense, and then also what a possible future is going to hold if we don't do something about this human trafficking. In the past, we have had multiple occasions where human trafficking doesn't get solved. In this chart, it shows from 2009 to 2013 that there are multiple cases on the light blue bar that are being registered. But that dark blue bar down there, those are the cases that are actually getting solved. And as you see, from 2009 to 2013, the cases that are getting registered are getting larger, and the cases that are actually getting solved are getting smaller. So what are we doing wrong? What are we going to do to prevent human trafficking in the future? How are we going to do it? Well, according to the Atlantic research, we come to find that over the 350 years that there was a transatlantic slave trade, there are 2 times as many slaves today and in the past than there are then. So let's move on to kind of the present tense. We're looking at how are we going to prevent this? How are we going to stop human trafficking? Well, there are charities that we can support. There are ways for us to find out the signs of human trafficking. And these things all come together, and ultimately it becomes our decision. We have to want to choose to stop human trafficking. Now, according to the Resource Center for Human Trafficking on December 28th, 2015, we see that the profit to risk ratio is a lot higher. And that's why a lot of traffickers are doing what they're doing. And according to that same article on December 28th, 2015, my team and I found that that's the main demand that is going on in this world today. A lot of people are wanting this job because it's easy cash. As soon as you sell somebody, wipe your hands clean of it, you're done. But is that right? Imagine if that was your brother or your sister or your mom and dad or just a loved one in general. Think about it. So what are we going to do about it in the future? How are we going to stop this? Well, the future doesn't look good. It really doesn't. And as we go on to let Seth Williams talk, he's going to share with us kind of the local charities that we have and the ways that we can help out in our community. As we were discussing earlier, we discussed the history, the present, and the future of human trafficking. We also had a couple of my team members come up and they talked about the different charities, a local charity for the silent. Then we had a global charity, the International Justice Mission. These are charities that we can all contribute to. These are charities that we as individuals need to learn to accept. We need to learn to help them out. And here's the reason why. A lot of times when you're thinking about your loved ones, where they are, if they're late coming home, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Did they have a wreck? Were they kidnapped? Were they hurt? You don't know. Everything is unknown. Now think of all those victims that were actually trafficked. What are their loved ones thinking? They have no idea where they are. They have no idea what's going on. Are their loved ones okay? It's a terrible thought to have. It's a terrible feeling. So, as we go on to consider what we can do in the future to help our future generations, it's not shove all this information underneath the rug. We need to learn to go out, share this information, share it with your loved ones. Show them the signs of human trafficking. Tell them about it. Be upfront with them. Don't be scared to talk about it. Make it known. Because as we saw on those charts earlier, the further and further into the future that we're going, the more cases are being filed in the system, the less the cases are getting solved. So what are we going to do? Are we just going to stand by? Or are we all going to actually do something about it? That's up to us. And that's our responsibility. So it's our chance to take a stand against human trafficking. This is my audience, Preston and Sarah Smith, and my wife, Diane.